Hello,
Hi.
welcome back to Sugar and Spice. Today we are back with two wonderful stories. Yes, Shrija, in a totally
Yes.
different setting.
Yeah, we have this lovely background, lot of green, lot of fresh air, and we hope that you find our stories as refreshing. Yes?
Yes.
So, starting off with a story from an Amar Chitra Katha comic. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. Like, when we think back of our younger days, these comics taught us a
True.
lot. They still do. And this one is a personal favorite. So, the story is set in the golden age of the Guptas, where there was a lot of prosperity. So, people didn't know poverty. There was a lot of food in everyone's belly, and it was generally thought of to be a very nice age. So my story starts with a businessman in a town who was doing very well for himself. He and his wife and his children lived in this lovely palatial house, but he fell on bad times when there was a problem with his business, and he used to send out spices and expensive jewels over the seas, sell them, and bring in money. So there was a problem when some of his ships did not get back home. So when this happened and they were on going through difficult times, his wife called him and told him, "Why don't you go to my father, who is a very big businessman, and I'm sure he'll help you. He'll help you with a loan because I'm sure we'll get back on our feet once you have the money to do it." Now, this man was not very confident of his father in law because he knew him to be slightly mean of nature, and he didn't want to ask him for the money. But his wife had so much of faith in her father, he didn't have the heart to, make her feel bad. So he said, "Okay, fine, I'll try. I don't think he's going to help me, but I'll try." So he sets off the next day and he had to go through a forest to reach his father in law's house. And when he started out, a little distance into the forest, he was met by a monk. And the monk looked almost skeletal. He hadn't eaten for days, and he told him, "I'm hungry. Do you have anything that you could share, any food that you could give me?" Now, this businessman was a kind man at heart, and he had taken something to eat, a light refreshment, a snack. But when he looked at the monk, he thought, "No, I think his need is more than mine," and he gave it to him. He went hungry himself until he reached his father in law's house. Of course, the monk blessed him and went on his way. As expected, when he went there, he was received like a king, and he was looked after until he brought up the topic of the money, the loan that he wanted. And the father in law thought to himself, "Now he's had too many failures. Now, he may be my son in law, but I can't afford to invest in him." And so he refused him very politely with a lot of excuses. "I have commitments, or I would have given you money. I know it's my daughter who I have to think about," and so on. Anyway, the son in law thanked him and left the next day, disappointed. But more than disappointed, he was worried as to what he would tell his wife when he got home because he knew this would break her heart. He kept pondering over this and kept walking until it was almost evening before he reached home. And just before he left the forest, when he was looking on the ground as he walked, he saw something shining there. So he bent down and picked up what looked like ordinary rocks, and he realized they were just pebbles with a very, very polished sheen, and they were normal, ordinary pebbles. So he had an idea. He he took out the pouch that he had brought along with him and filled it with these pebbles, a lot of them up to the brim. He thought he'll keep the pretense up a little and not give the news to his wife as a shock. And he went home. And there was his wife waiting at the door, and he said, "Did you get it? Did he help you? What did he give you?" So he quietly handed this pouch with the stones to her and said, "I'm going to go and get a wash. I'm tired. Just take this in." So she took it from him and said, "Oh my God, he's given you so many." And she rushes in, "Yes, you get ready, and I'll keep a meal ready for you." So there wasn't much discussion that night. The next morning, when the businessman woke up from a very tired, un, you know, not at all refreshing sleep, he smelled some lovely aromas in the air, of cooking, food cooking, and a lot of laughter. He heard a lot of laughter. He woke up to wonder what had happened, what was different about this morning. And his wife came in looking all dressed up in silks and fineries, and she had this lovely smile on her face, and she said, "Come on, get dressed. Breakfast is waiting." So he got ready, and when he went into the dining room, he was shocked to see all the servants that he had sent off when they were going through bad times were all back. A feast had been served on tables and silver and gold platters, and his children were all sitting there, well dressed, happy, eating. And he started eating the food. He asked his wife, "Where did you get all this from? I mean, where's the money from?" And his wife looked at him in shock and said, "Are you joking with me? I mean, what about the stones that you got last night? I just had to take one tiny one and there's still so much left." He said, "Stones? You mean the stones I gave you?" "Yes." "Bring them to me, I need to see them." And he rushed in with his wife to the room where she had kept the bag of stones. And when she opened up the bag of stones, he was shocked to find that it was filled to the brim with priceless jewels. There were all kinds of huge stones, sapphires, diamonds, big rock diamonds. And he said, "This was in the bag?" "Yes." His wife said, "Why? What's the problem? Why are you looking so shocked?" And he says, "I filled this with stones. I mean, this is not your father gave me nothing." His wife looked at him and smiled and said, "Does it really matter? Because we got what we wanted. Someone up there loves you. And our problems are solved." And she went happily away. He looked at his wife, whose simple faith, he wasn't sure if it was her faith that had changed those stones into priceless jewels, or was it the hungry monk that he had fed on the way. But somehow he felt that faith makes a big difference, had made a big difference in his life. And I suppose blind faith, sometimes we look at it in a very derogatory fashion. We think it isn't good, but maybe sometimes it's what keeps
He was
people going.
blessed. End of the day, he was blessed.
He was blessed because
Yeah.
maybe because he was a nice man, but we would love endings like this, wouldn't
Yes,
we?
true, so true. And what goes around comes around, they say.
Oh yes.
So yeah, in one way or the other, maybe it is a little metaphorical, this story, but it does actually happen. Sometimes you feel that when you do good, it does come back to you.
Comes back to you. Maybe not from the same source, but
So true.
somehow it
so
comes
true.
back
It
to
comes
you.
back to you.
Yes.
So that was a lovely story, Shrita.
Yeah, I love this one. Now it's time for another equally wonderful one from Deepti. So go on, Deepti.
So this is from an author who's a very celebrated author in Hindi. You all might be very, very familiar. His name is Munshi Premchand, and this is the first time we are, we are coming up with the story of Munshi Premchand.
He's written some beautiful stories.
Lovely stories, and it had to do, I think it had elements of everything, family. The Indian scenario was painted in front of you in many ways, the different aspects of the Indian families and households. So this story is about a very, very rich landlord from a place called Gauripur. His name was Beni Madhav Singh. So apparently their family was a very, very rich one earlier, when his forefathers, there was a temple and there was a pond apparently in the family's name. So it was such a very known family in the place. But right now their financial condition was not so good. He apparently had given all his wealth to the lawyers. You know how it is sometimes, the lawsuits cost so much that even the most wealthiest of families, we have heard stories like that, have come down to nothing. Yeah, so, and this was the condition in which they were. But he had two sons, and the older son, his name was Shrikant Bhatt, and he was very good in studies. He had somehow finished his education, and those days getting a BA degree was not easy, and he had achieved that. He had got a BA degree and he was working in an office. So he had a younger brother. His name was Lal Bihari Singh. He was not so educated, and he was more of the the person who, he had a lot of ego, and he was not very respectful of women. So that was the kind of person he was. Now there was this rich person whose daughter was Anandi, and he wanted the best alliance for his daughter, because she was not only beautiful but also very intelligent and very she was talented in a lot of ways, and he wanted, like any other father, he wanted the best alliance for her. So when he met Shrikant Singh one day at one of the, he had come to speak about something at his place, he liked his behavior, and like those days proposals were fixed just like that. The father liked the boy and they fixed the proposal, and Anandi and Shrikant got married, and they led a very, very happy married life. until he had to travel a lot. Shrikant Singh had to travel a lot, and most of the time it was only the father-in-law and the brother-in-law who were there in the house. So one day, the younger brother, Lal Bihari, brought in chicken to the house, and he told his bhabhi or his sister-in-law to cook it for him. So she happily, the thing about Anandi was that she was brought up in complete luxury. She had an elephant in her house. That was the kind of luxury she was used to. But um, girls those times were taught to go into your husband's house and get adjusted, adapted. These are terms which we even listen to today. So those days it was supposed to be the duty of the daughter-in-law to adjust to whatever situation she was in when she got married. She was happy also. She tried to make her
The best of
Sasura, the
things.
best of whatever she got. She was living a happy life there, and she was doing all her duties. And as soon as the brother-in-law brought in the chicken and told her, to cook it, she just did it. And only mistake apparently that she did, the mistake according to them that she did was there was a very little ghee left in the pot, and she thought this was only sufficient for the chicken curry, and she put the whole thing into that. And when Lal Bihari sat down to eat, he said, "Why is there no ghee for the dal?" You know, those things were like, it was so important. The dal had to have the ghee, no matter whether it was there in the house or not. So the rules were set. So he asked, "Why is there no ghee in the dal?" And the daughter-in-law said, Anandi said, "No, there was no ghee left. There was only very little. I thought it would be just sufficient for the chicken, and I put it all in." So she said, he said, "How? Why did you do that? You're acting as if." He started talking really bad to her. Though she was the older sister-in-law and he had to give her respect, and as his character was, he started speaking to her very rudely, and he said, "How dare you do that? You have to make sure that you make use of the things in the house in a more wise way. You can't just lavishly keep using things like this. So you shouldn't have done this." And he started talking very rudely, and one sentence which he said really got her angry. He said, "Oh, you're acting as if in your house you have rivers of ghee. It is so, you're acting as if you're just showing off that you are from a very rich household." So that was not her intention at all, and she got really, she would have taken anything. But when he badmouthed her family and her house, she felt very bad, and she said, "No, that's not the case. You're not supposed to do that, because in my house, if you're talking about my house, even the servants get more food than that." That just came out because she was really frustrated and angry. This got Lal Bihari very angry, and in a middle class household, a man was allowed to do anything in those days. He just removed his wooden slippers and threw it at her, and she blocked it with her hands, and luckily her face was safe, but her hands started bleeding, and she ran into the room, and she never got out till her husband returned after 2 days. She was very, very upset. She was crying and she was so angry and upset that in spite of her doing everything in her capacity to adjust to the house, this was something she just couldn't tolerate. And she explained the whole thing to her husband when he came back in full honesty. She did not say even one word which did not happen. She just narrated the incident to him. But the husband that he was, and the man was, Shrikant Singh was not like his brother. He respected women, and he knew that his wife was doing her best. And this act by his brother was just not pardonable. He wasn't happy with what he did, and he told his father that, "I'm leaving. I cannot live anymore with my brother because he has insulted my wife. He had to give her the respect of an elder sister, and that is what she has done everything for him. And this act will not be pardoned. I'm not going to take this anymore. I don't want to live in the same house as him." Now, the father, obviously, both the brothers, both his sons were equal to him, and he was really sad that they were being separated. So he tried to consoled him, saying that he's illiterate, he's not as wise as you, so please forgive him and all those things. But Shrikant Singh said, no, this is the limit, and I am not going to take it anymore. Either he has to move on or I will move on. So his brother Lal Bihari, by now his anger had come down, and he listened to everything that his older brother was talking. And he was shattered because he never thought, okay, Bhaiya or his elder brother was like, he held him with great respect. He never knew, okay, he would be angry, but not so angry that he would not want to see his face ever again. So Lal Bihari came to his senses, and he went to his sister-in-law and told her that Bhaiya doesn't want to see me anymore. He says, so I am leaving. He doesn't need to leave. I am the one who was wrong, so I will leave. And by now, even Anandi had felt bad for him, and Anandi's anger had also come down. She never wanted to, have a problem with the brothers. She was always fine with the joint family setup that she was in. She didn't want to separate them. She knew how much they loved each other no matter what. So she told her husband when he came in that, poor fellow, see, he's crying outside. Go talk to him. He's really sad. What is over. He's realized his mistake. So, please forgive him this time. So his brother also, Shrikant also understood, okay. And he was also calmed by his wife's words. So when he went out, he could see that his brother was really shameful of what he had done. And he told Bhaiya, I'm not going to repeat this again. I'm really sorry, and I'm leaving because you don't want to see my face ever again. He hugged him, and he said, they both made up basically, and they spoke to each other, and they cried and hugged, and they made up for whatever had happened. And the best part was, everyone in the village knew that after all, though she was called, that is why the story is called Bade Ghar Ki Beti. So Bade Ghar is not about a large house or a rich household. It is the values which has been instilled in the woman.
The noble thinking.
Yeah, she was so forgiving, and so it was not that she wasn't worth it or she was in any way inferior, but she had the mind to forgive, and that is the huge strength, that is the greatest strength of a woman, I feel. And I felt this was much ahead of its times, the time it was written.
Yes.
And I really loved the story, and I must say that Shrija introduced me to this story, and I really, really loved it, and I wanted to share with all of
It's
you.
a beautiful story, and it's kind of, the author tries to tell you that it's not just belonging to a big house or a big family.
Correct.
It's the kind of upbringing that you've had, the
So
nobility.
true. That makes all the difference.
Which makes you superior, That is what brings out your superiority,
So
not...
true, so
yeah.
true. The end of the story is with this line, बड़े घर की बेटी है, तो ऐसा ही करेगी. So that
Shows.
means in Hindi, in English it means that she is from a rich household, and the richness showed in
Is
her
seen like
character.
this.
Yeah. It
Character
was
is
not
what's
about
most
the money.
important.
Yes.
It's a beautiful story, and Munshi Premchand has written some very, very heart-rending stories. I mean, and people who've read it know a lot of stories,
So
and I
true.
hope we can
So
share
true.
some of them in the course of our
Yes.
sessions. So I think
Thank you so much for listening to both of us
Yeah.
today. I hope you all enjoyed
Enjoyed it, as
Enjoyed the
usual.
setting as well.
Yes,
We
and-
did.
we'd
Yes.
like your feedback, your suggestions. Yes, the same thing. Let us know if you have any preferences as far as stories go. So from Sugar and Spice, it is
For today, it's bye-bye.
bye. Love you.
Love you all.